go to when you're, getting ready to move up.
Yeah, definitely. So have you gotten a chance to really see how the current product is? Like, have you watched a lot of the, Monday Night Raws or NXT shows that have happened lately?
Well, yeah, I've been watching them all. I mean, I've been watching every Raw for like the last 2.5 years. It's been like a ritual. And because I want to know what's going on and see what the talent's doing. And then I've been watching all the NXT stuff. It's right down the street from me, so I always go there and I can talk to the students and watch what they do right there. So it's fun, but I've been watching a bunch of it.
What do you think kind of makes NXT, so impactful in the wrestling business? Because I know a lot of people are saying like NXT is the best in the world, and it's arguably is. But what makes it special and makes it that, that memorable, in your opinion?
Well, it's a good show, and they kind of employ more of the old school basic psychology into stuff. And if you watch NXT, it's also an hour show.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like an hour show. So they can make it a more, packed looking show. But if you watch Raw, you're watching guys do interviews for 20 minutes. You don't see that on NXT, So you kind of get more of a flow and more of a sporting feeling and more of a, not stretching for time. And
Right. Well, actually, that brings an interesting point. How long were interviews usually back in like the NWA, AWA days? Were they maybe 5 minutes most, or how long were usually your promos at least?
Well, with the average time, when we used to film the promos for the TV shows, and we do them over and over because, one interview is basically the same interview, but you'd say it over with one town, and then you'd say it over with the name of another town, somewhere else.
Right.
But the average length for an interview is maybe 2-3 minutes, because, it just starts getting too boring. God, I don't want to watch them talk for 20 minutes and they're going over about the whole history. It started 6 months ago, and then 5 months ago, and then 4 months ago this happened, and I thought, oh my God. So.
Well, if they wanted to watch that, now they can watch it on the WWE network. So.
Yeah. But NXT's a good show. You got, there's a good sporting feel to it, and a lot of, movement. There's not, long stretched out stuff. So. And it's new faces too,
Oh yeah, definitely. In WWE right now, do you see anybody, or who? Let me ask this: who stands out to you the most? Like as far as either wrestling wise, promo wise, just like the total package, like back in your day.
Yeah, the guy that stands out the most to me is Brock. Brock Lesnar is a real guy, So he's the one that kind of sticks out the most to me. And you can feel the difference when Brock comes out. People have a different feeling because they know he's a real guy.
Definitely, yeah.
So some other guys come down and start dancing around. Yeah, it's cute and fun to watch, but when Brock Lesnar walks out, we go, oh my God, he is a beast. And it's kind of, the old school mentality. People want to pay money to see something weird and abnormal and, beastly, and the competition between two monsters,
Yeah, and that actually brings up a point because my friend Lonnie actually wanted me to ask this question. What are your thoughts on this whole Lesnar-Taker rivalry?
The Lesnar what?
The Lesnar-Undertaker rivalry.
Well, I'm not sure that we'll see what happens. I thought it was a real touching moment when the Undertaker, lost and Brock, beat him and broke the record. because people actually went into like shock. And so, you know, which tells me you can still get them. So, and then they came back. But I really don't know how much, this could be the last time, you know. I don't even know if The Undertaker's going to walk good. You know, I mean, when they bring some of these guys back, you could use a different name for a big event, but I don't know, you know, if The Undertaker, you know, how much more abuse he can take. They brought Sting in. He's, 55 or so. I think he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, The Rock got hurt, you know, last WrestleMania. He did, so.
But
that guy's been taking too old for this after a while. Try to make a comeback and you're not getting hurt.
Do you think there's a point where, well, let me ask this. How old do you think the average wrestler should wrestle to before it's time to say, okay, you know, it's time to hang out the boots?
Well,
go ahead.
It depends on the individual. But men don't reach their muscular peak till they're 45. And even looking like a man, you know, you don't really even look like a madman until you're in your early or mid-30s, you know.
Right.
Get rid of the little boy look. So all the guys that, you know, became big money draws were at least in their early mid-30s and big guys, you know, and that. But then, yeah, people always told me there comes a point where you just look too old for the business. I mean, you don't see 60-year-old football players running around the field. You know, and wrestling, it depends how you look, but, you know, 45-ish probably should be a good point, depending on how you look and how you know, what you can do and, you know, who you are. But by 50, I mean, you're just looking too old and, you know, it's time to go, I would think.
Well, yeah, it always does depend on how the person is feeling. Well, we did mention, you know, kind of one of the jokes about, you know, Ric Flair working at fast food, stuff like that. Have you gotten the chance in your early career?
Make a joke about Flair?
No, I was actually going to say, during your career, have you gotten the chance to actually work with Ric Flair while you were wrestling?
You know what? Rick was one of the two guys I think I never wrestled. I never wrestled Rick, and I never wrestled the Hulk. I think everybody else I worked with, you know, Macho, but that was maybe one time and something. But no, yeah, I never wrestled Flair. It almost happened one time in WCW because Flair wrestled everybody, you know, 1,000 times already.
Right.
But me and him never wrestled. And you know, this is when I might have been doing the broadcasting. Might have been around the time I did something with Regal kind of thing, but I think it was right then when Flair all of a sudden took off. Did he take off with the belt one time and left WCW with the belt or something?
Oh, yeah, I think I remember, because he had that.
Yeah, I think it was right around then, so it never happened.
Well, I think it would have been interesting to see in Larry Zbyszko versus Ric Flair. The question would be, who would be the, as you proposed it, who would be the asshole between the two of you? Would it
yeah, it would have been a classic, because, you know, in those days, Flair could still do stuff, you know, and I was maybe could still do stuff. I wrestled Steve Regal at one time on CBS for like 28 minutes. I thought I was going to die. You know, because for 3-4 years, I'm just sitting there, you know, doing the broadcasting and playing golf. Holy. I'm in pretty good shape, though, I will admit that.
Well, I will ask this one more question, and then we'll probably have to call it good. If there's one thing that you want the fans to take out of your career, what would you want the fans to think about? When they think of the name Larry Zbyszko, what do you want them to, you know, remember you most for?
Let's see. I guess they can remember me most for once upon a time being the most hated man alive as a professional wrestler. I was one of the most hated wrestlers alive ever.
Wow. That is very, very deep.
I don't really remember, but this guy was the biggest asshole you've ever seen.
I think you paved the way for a lot of current assholes like Mr. Anderson or Mr. Kennedy, if you know who I'm referring to, the guy from Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that, definitely you are indeed, a Hall of Famer for a reason, and I thank you so much, Larry Zbyszko, for being on the show today. Thank you so much for taking the time to, not only share stories, but also your experiences, and, honestly, I have a newfound respect for you, especially, you as a heel, having your car start on fire, getting shot at, getting stabbed in the butt.
Oh, yeah. You know what? If anybody ever wants to make a movie about wrestling, that would be a good time to do it, because the fans of today, if they saw how wrestling was throughout the 70s and that, in the 60s and 70s, they wouldn't believe it, where this came from. How night and day it was.
I'd pay to watch and see it. I know that, I don't know if you saw the wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, I saw that one time. I was actually in the credits, I think, and they flew me up to do some voiceovers, but then they never used the voiceovers.
Oh. What was your overall opinion on the wrestler?
Well, I saw it, and it kind of reflected the life of a few guys. I'm thinking of Jake the Snakes, and there's some other guys, and that's why I'm saying it's such a brutal business, because you're going to wind up 40 years old, all beat up with no money, and how kind of job and career are you going to start, limping around and with a wrestling mentality and, needing artificial knees and surgeries. And so it's a brutal business, and, a few guys have wound up like that. And then the point of the movie was kind of weird, even about trading your soul to the devil. Or, do you want to live the life of being a robot or a sheep, or do you want to be the bird and fly where you want to? Mickey Rourke in a wrestler movie, an old wrestler, he'd rather be dead than being a, stock shelfer,
Right. Well, unfortunately, guys, that is going to be out of time. Thank you, Larry, for your time, and thank you for being on the show.
Oh, my pleasure, buddy. Have fun.
Definitely. We'll definitely have to schedule you back on the show sometime.
All right, let me know.
Will do. All right, guys, this has been ProTalk Wrestling with Larry Zbyszko. Remember that tonight NXT airs on the WWE Network, 8 Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time. Remember that there is a battle royal to determine the number one contender for the NXT Championship. So tune in tonight for NXT. Let's find out who challenged Finn Balor for the title. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, whether you are one group or whether you are one person, you can make a difference. Oh, and before I forget, tomorrow at around 6 p.m. Central Time, I will have the Squared Circle's Spencer Hart. You can follow him on Twitter at Hart_radio. He will be on the show, and we will talk a little bit about NXT and a lot of other things. So thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great day. Enjoy your Thursday. Have a good night.